Hey, welcome back to RamZland. Today I want to show you how to make a Curie Point Pendulum using a Canadian nickel. Check this out. All I'm using to make my Curie Point Pendulum is this pendulum stand, some copper wire, a neodymium magnet, a Canadian nickel that was minted between 1965 and 1981. They were actually made of pure nickel, and a small candle and a lighter. The first step is to drill a small hole in the top of the nickel. And once you've drilled a hole through the top of the nickel, then you're ready to thread a thin copper wire through it. Cut off a short piece of copper wire and just thread the end through the hole that you made in your nickel. So I just twisted the wire back and forth a few times so it looks like this. The next step is to lower your pendulum stand and the length of the wire so that the wire is just long enough to attract the coin to the magnet without the coin actually touching the magnet. So it just kind of floats in midair. And then you want to scoot your candle right underneath the coin. Here's another view of the stand, and you can see that the coin is attracted to the magnet. Nickel is ferromagnetic, but it's not actually touching the magnet. And this allows the candle to heat that coin until the nickel reaches its Curie point. And that is the temperature in which different metals lose their ferromagnetism. So what we're hoping will happen here is when I light the candle, that'll heat up our nickel until it reaches about 669 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, it'll hit its Curie point and lose its ferromagnetism and will no longer be attracted to the permanent neodymium magnet. Remember, ferromagnetism, that refers to how some metals like cobalt, nickel, or iron will have electron spin that aligns within a magnetic field in areas called domains. And when those domains align, then those metals are attracted to the magnet. Now, this doesn't mean that they're a temporary magnet or certainly not a permanent magnet, because the minute you remove cobalt, nickel, or iron from a magnetic field, the electrons no longer align themselves. And so in this case, the nickel will no longer be attracted to this permanent magnet when it reaches 669 degrees Fahrenheit. Check it out. And it lost its ferromagnetism, just like that. At this point, the minute that coin cools down, then it's able to align its domains once more, just temporarily, and it's attracted to the magnet. But as you increase the heat, you also increase molecular movement. And what happens is those electrons start to misalign with all of that heat, and once the domains are no longer aligned, and they're no longer attracted to the magnet, and the coin starts to fall, just like that. The man who discovered the Curie point was Pierre Curie. He was the husband of the famous Marie Curie, who discovered radium. And it was in the late 1800s that Pierre and his brother Jacques discovered the piezoelectric effect. They went on to do all kinds of experiments with magnetism, and they found that different ferromagnetic metals had different temperatures in which they lost their ferromagnetism. They learned that iron has a much higher Curie point than, for instance, nickel that we use today. Here's a chart showing the Curie point for different metals, iron, cobalt, and nickel, and you can certainly see that iron requires a much higher temperature to achieve the Curie point, whereas nickel is far lower. That's why we used that in our demonstration today. It's easy to reach that temperature with just a candle flame, whereas for iron you would need a blowtorch to reach the Curie point. I hope you enjoyed today's edition of RamZland, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this presentation, be sure to remember to like and subscribe.